More story times of things that happened to me at raves. We've done the most disgusting thing. We've done the most weird thing. I want to say this is a scary thing. And this is kind of two different times. One was a rave, one was BTV, okay? And it's kind of like the same situation happened twice. So I'm like, let me just preface this by saying, I'm really scared of girls that give like mean energy and a bit like just mean girls. I'm scared of them, okay? I don't fucking like them and I'm scared of them and that's it. Let's just like have that as context, right? Just keep that in mind. I'm never going to act in a way that makes someone hate me for no reason because I'm trying to make people like me at all times, pretty much, when I meet new people. This happened for the first time. This was at like a rave I went to a couple years ago now, and I was outside with my boyfriend and my best friend, and we were talking to this group of girls. Like a few of them knew me from TikTok and they wanted to get photos with me. So I was taking photos of them, whatever, and they actually asked, when we were standing with them as a group, they had this one of their girlfriends there, and she was kind of acting a little bit off. Like I kind of like noticed her a little bit when they were talking to me that she was being a little bit off, but I just chose to ignore it. She was being a little bit like acting like that, and I just ignored it. Then they asked her to take the photo because the two girls wanted a photo, and they asked their friends to take the photo. And when she got to take the photo, she was like rolled her. I was like, oh my god, like, and she like made a comment like that, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Because I would never do that shit. I was thinking like, oh my god, like she doesn't seem happy about this, but like I was keeping it, I was internalizing it because I was like, what the hell? The girl went back to take the photos and she had the camera. While she was taking photos of us, she was going like, oh my god, like, or something like that. And I was saying to her two friends on either side of me, I was like, what is wrong with her? What is she doing? What is wrong with her? And they were like, we don't know, we're sorry, we don't know. They fucking shitted themselves as well from this girl. She's been like, oh, what the hell? Like, and like, you know what? Like, people don't act like that in real life. Like, maybe online people can act mean and catty, but in real life, no one really just goes like, oh my god, while looking at someone like, who does that, bro? We're not in a fucking TV show. We're not in a bloody Chris Lilly show, right? Anyway, so got photos of it, and then we went back to being in a group, like her and her friends, and then me, my boyfriend, and my best friend. Tried to go on as normal, and like, I just kept talking to them and like was trying to act overly, like, I was even overcompensating being nice because I was thinking like, maybe this girl, maybe she thinks I'm really fucking annoying or something, and I'm trying to show like that I'm a normal person. Anyway, so she was doing this stuff, like giving me weird looks, being like, I don't even know who you are, like doing some shit like that. And then she was offering a vape around, and she didn't offer it to me, obviously. She offered it to my boyfriend. And now this is when my scared of mean girlsness like goes away, because it's like, as soon as you're trying to talk to my boyfriend, it's like, do you know what I mean? So then I got balls out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, that's my boyfriend. No, like, don't fucking try and give me vape. It's fucking weird. And then she literally does this. She literally did this. She was literally like trying to give him the vape, and I was here. I was like, no. And she was like, oh my god, and walked off like that. And then I'm over here like this, like, oh, what did I just do? Then her friends kind of just ignore it. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, address your mate. Like, I don't understand when like, because this has happened numerous times now when I can tell that a girl's being crazy and the mates are not even addressing, like, bro, your friend is like being really rude to us. Like, it's, anyway. I don't understand why the friends wouldn't address, but maybe they're scared of it. Anyway, she's like, oh my god, whatever. She turned back around. The conversation we'd been having was about piercings and stuff, by the way, when that happened. When she came back around, she turned over, she went.
You guys want to hear a real scary ass story? As I'm just waking up, because I'm sick and I just woke up from like a really bad dream that I had about this. So basically, I was babysitting at the time. I think I was like 15 years old when this happened. And the little girls I were babysitting were, God, I think they were like 6 and 2 years old, 6 and 3 maybe. The older one, we're going to call her, then we'll call the little one Aura. So Luna and me were playing hide and seek once Aura went to bed. Now, Luna loved hide and seek, was literally obsessed with it. And so I gave in, I'm like, okay, let's play. And Luna had an imaginary friend whose name was Pete. She was always talking to Pete, and I've always had paranormal things happen to me and experiences, and I will tell you guys, I had seen shit in that house that was deeply unsettling. I fully believed I saw Pete several times. I would hear voices, I would get scratches on me, I would see dark shadows, like tall dark shadows. Back to the story. So she's like, let's play hide and seek. I'm like, fuck, okay, like let's play. I'm gonna be a good babysitter over here, right? So we're playing hide and seek, and Luna, the first time, I guess I was like too hard to find, even though I remember hiding behind like a table or something. So the second time, she's like, I want to go again, I want to find you, but you have to stop hiding with Pete. And I'm like, this is my night. This is like Hollywood fuel, nightmare fuel right here for a scary movie plot. I'm like, okay, I won't hide with Pete. I'm not hiding with Pete in this dark ass house as the younger kid is sleeping. I'm terrified. So anyways, I hide. There was like a rocking chair, right, in this side room, and it was dark in this side room, and I'm scared. So I just hide directly in front of the rocking chair. Hide. I sit in front of like the rocking chair because the shadow of the chair like kind of overpowered it, if it makes sense, and it was an easy spot for her to find me. She's 5. And she said that I was too hard to find me before. So I'm just sitting in front of this chair in a dark ass side room. I begin to feel overwhelmed and panicked, and literally like someone is watching me like this close to my face. So I'm like, Luna, like, here's a hint. I don't want to play no more. Like, I'm that close to not playing because I just feel something is on me. And then I swear to God, I hear a deep laugh in the room, like a sinister laugh, like a man, and it's fucking dark and I can't see where it's coming from. So my automatic instinct is, oh my God, there's kids in here. What if there's like a real person in here, right? Switch away from paranormal, this Pete thing, maybe it's getting to my head. And then I take a breath and I feel in my ear behind me. I turn around, no one is there, nothing is there. I literally just sat there for a minute. I didn't move after I looked behind me and no one was there. And I'm like, okay, I need to get up and find Luna. She walks in the room. She sees me from like the front entrance. She says, oh, walks over. I think she's walking to me. She walks behind me to the rocking chair behind me. She says, silly Pete, I told you can't hide with Riley. Gross. I remember she went behind me, grabbed this hand. I couldn't see like this Pete apparition, but she could at the time. She grabbed something's hand and they walk out of the room together. And I remember being like frozen still for a minute. Then I ran after her and I scooped her up and I took her straight back to the living room with all the lights on. And I said, we're done talking to Pete. We're not talking to him anymore. And she's just like, oh, well, he doesn't like you anyway. So, and then the whole night, this 5-year-old child was upset. It was only like another hour till the parents came home, but was distraught, wouldn't go to bed, nothing, because Pete didn't want me there. And I ruined the game, and Pete was hurt, apparently, that I didn't want to hide with him. And I remember, like, her parents were very, like, sweet people, but they would never believe something like that. I tried to kind of bring it up, but I have so many more stories with Luna, and with Aura, too, because I watched them for years. So when Aura grew up, I had some weird experiences happen with that. But let me know if you guys want more. And fuck hide and seek and rocking chairs. I am terrified of both of them.
What would you do if every night at 3:03 a.m. someone walked by your house whistling, but you weren't allowed to look, or there was going to be really bad consequences? Because that's what this story is about. The poster has lived in this neighborhood since they were 6 years old, and they say that now being 13, they can see that there's only 2 weird things about this neighborhood. That's the Whistler and the good luck. It's a super nice neighborhood. There's no crime. The weather seems to always be perfect, and everyone describes it as a million little blessings. When they first moved to this neighborhood, it was whenever her little sister was born and she was sick. She had issues breathing and nothing could really be done about it. And as soon as they moved there, all of a sudden she was miraculously perfect. Like nothing ever happened and it just wasn't explainable. But like they said, a million little blessings. When they moved into this neighborhood, they were also greeted by the welcoming committee, which came with macaroni salad, a gift basket, and the rules. The whistling would start at 3:03, and
they say that you're not supposed to see your own doppelganger, right? And that it's supposed to be a bad omen or something bad could happen to you afterwards. Well, someone in my family saw their own doppelganger, and this story is terrifying. It's one of the scariest stories that I've heard any of my family members tell. But if you guys saw the story that I posted like 2 or 3 nights ago about my mom's doppelganger, what's so crazy about this story is that it happened to my mom's twin sister's daughter. So it's important to note that a lot of people in my family have seen things. A lot of people in my family have gifts. What to the extent of those gifts, I'm not sure, but everyone has seen something or heard something at some point. My aunt has sleep paralysis horribly. She has her entire life, my mom's twin sister. And she lived in this house at one point, and this house used to freak me out so bad. Now, I never personally saw anything in this house, but I would always have nightmares in this house, and I would never want to go in the basement alone because the basement just freaked me out. But one night, my aunt puts my niece to bed, puts my nephew to bed, and then she goes to sleep. So after my aunt falls asleep, she wakes up in the middle of the night, and she starts to hear what sounds like a radio changing stations. And this is freaking her out a little bit, but then she realizes that she cannot move, and she realizes that she's having sleep paralysis. Now, what's so creepy about this is that numerous times this has happened to me. The first thing I will hear when I'm about to have a full-blown sleep paralysis attack is I will hear what sounds like a radio changing stations. So she hears this, and then suddenly she starts to feel something crawl slowly on the bed. First it's hands, then it feels like the knees. And then she can hear this laughing sound, but it's like this deep maniacal laugh. It slowly inches closer towards her. It gets right in her ear and it goes, Anne. Anne is my aunt's name. So at this point, she's freaking out. Her husband is sleeping next to her, and she's trying her hardest to move. She cannot move. She's trying to wake him up, making any sound she can. She cannot move. As she's trying to fight her way out of this as hard as she can, she suddenly feels whatever this is leap out of her bed, jump on the floor, and run down the hallway. She finally gets out of it, and she sits up, and she's like gasping for air, like literally terrified her. Even though it was just sleep paralysis, she was like, that just felt real. There was something wrong about that. Now, down the hall is my cousin's room, my little cousin's room. We're just gonna call her Mackenzie, and she was 6 years old at the time. She ends up falling back asleep, and nothing happens for the rest of that night, but she does note that she feels like there's something in that house. A couple nights later, she puts my niece and nephew to bed. She goes back to sleep. She wakes up at like 3 o'clock in the morning again, and she hears my cousin screaming at the top of her lungs. So my aunt goes to get out of bed while my cousin, I keep almost calling her my niece, is running down the hallway, tears pouring down her face. She is absolutely hysterical. My aunt is like, what is wrong? What's wrong? And this is what my cousin tells her. My cousin said that she was laying in bed. She woke up in the middle of the night and she got scared for no reason. She then looks down at the end of her bed and she sees something sitting at the end of her bed. At first she's looking at it and she's like, is my mom in the room? Is my mom sitting in the bed? She thought that it was my aunt at first. And then it turns its head slowly towards her, and it's her sitting at the end of the bed. She sees herself sitting at the end of the bed. And when it turned its head, it just smiled at her like this. So she saw herself sitting at the end of her bed, just smiling at her. A day after my aunt had that sleep paralysis where that thing ran down the hall towards her room. Now, they did end up moving out of that house, and my aunt was absolutely horrified by this because she believed her. My mom believed me every time I told her something happened to me when I was younger, and my aunt always believed her kids too. And they ended up moving out of the house, not for that reasons, but just because they ended up moving out. Like, she ended up getting a divorce from her husband. My aunt said that she would always have crazy nightmares in that house. And when I say crazy, like, I'm talking about nightmares that kind of seeped into reality. I'll have to ask her about some, like, this one particular nightmare that she had that still gives me chills when I hear it to this day. I'm getting chills right now even thinking about it. It was so scary, and the way that she woke up from it and just like it was so, oh. But I'll make sure to ask her about that if you want to hear it. Drop it in the comments if you want to hear that story. But what do you guys think is going on? Like, this was a while ago, obviously. But I definitely think that my entire family has gifts to a certain extent. Most of them have seen pretty freaky things. I definitely think that a lot of us are haunted. I think I have.
Let's read some creepy Reddit stories. These ones are like abduction, home invasion stories. And of course, I'm home alone. Not my own abduction, but my cousin was abducted. She lives in Mexico. One day, as she was walking home after being dropped off by the school bus, she was pulled into a van by men wearing bandanas over their faces. They tied her up and placed a hood over her head. They drove for a long time, according to her. She was taken to a barn and was left there. Inside the barn were other young women tied up. She asked them, "What's going on? And where are we?" But the women wouldn't answer her. She somehow got loose from her rope and started to look for an escape. She found a window and saw that the sun was setting. She broke the window with a chair. She urged the other girls to come with, but they were too scared to leave. My cousin left them and she ran non-stop to the nearest town. She stayed off the roads in case they were looking for her. Luckily, she found a phone in the town and called her family. She's safe now, but she could never remember where the location of the barn was. She still feels guilty about it all. My best friend's parents were out of town one weekend and she had the house to herself. Went about her business having dinner, watching TV, then decided to go to bed. She was laying in her bed with her back to the closet when she heard the door open. She somehow pretended to be asleep. The man who was hiding in the closet walked around her bed to the side she was laying, gently stroked her hair and face, then left. She immediately called her boyfriend to ask him to come over, then called her parents and then the police. Long story short, this man had been getting into their home via a doggy door. They didn't have a dog and didn't bother to secure it. And he'd been living in a tent in the foresty area behind their home for months to creep on her. They found a ton of surveillance footage of her sleeping and pieces of her clothes. My cousin and his wife and their infant son had lived in their house for about 5 years. His wife left home to drop the baby off at daycare before work, but realized she had left her phone at home. Entering the house, she turned the corner to the hallway and nearly ran into the drop-down attic ladder, which was fully extended. They never used the attic as it was filled with loose insulation, and my cousin had left for work hours earlier. She quietly left the house, drove around the corner, and called the police. When the police investigated, they found a short-range transmitter connected to several cameras hidden throughout their home. The light fixture in the shower, the ceiling fan above their bed, even a pinhole in the nursery were sending videos to a nearby location. Their neighbor a few houses away had been given a key by the prior owners and installed surveillance equipment once he knew their schedule. My cousin's wife walked in on him updating his equipment, but he forgot something at his house and left to get it when she walked in. He had been watching them for years. That is freaking insane. I was in college and had the only room on the ground floor. I was bartending, so I got home at like 3:30 a.m. I had just changed and gotten into bed when I heard someone fiddling with my window screen. I lived in a beach town, and usually I left my windows cracked open to hear the ocean as I fell asleep. I first thought it was one of my roommates who forgot their keys or something, but realized they would have called me first. So I flattened myself against the foot of my bed in the wall to look. It was a dude in a black hoodie with a box cutter cutting my window screen. As he was lifting himself to enter, I jumped up onto my bed and kicked him as hard as I could on the chest. He fell into the parking lot, hit a bike rack, and was knocked unconscious. I slammed my window shut, bolted it, and called the cops. By the time they showed, he was gone, but they found him 2 blocks away. His bag had zip ties and duct tape in it, and he had a record of SA. The cops blamed me for a bit for having my windows open. I kept my windows shut after that. Why are we blaming the victim? I mean, I know it's not smart to sleep with your windows open, but victim blaming is kind of crazy. Also, episode 9 of my podcast comes out tonight at midnight, so make sure to listen to that. I think you're gonna like it.
Should we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
It went to both.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to a series of spooky stories, The Haunted Tea Spill. The series is brought to you by all things spooky and ungodly amounts of paranormal activity. Featuring a new necklace. I'm so sorry that you can't see it. It is tiny, but it is a tarot card. She is so cute and I love her so much. The one that I got is a star, I believe. That's what it looks like. Click on the link to see what they actually look like and you'll understand that it's cute. I've been really loving my jewelry lately. Anyway, on to the story. This story starts sometime in 1992. I was 12 years old that year, and my family and I had just moved into a house that just so happened to be across the street from the town cemetery. Oh, what fun! I was able to have my own room apart from my little sister, who was just 1, and I was pretty excited about that. However, the first night we were there, I had horrible dreams of dead animals in my room and blood spattered on my walls. What? What a terrible start. This is an important detail for later. I ended up dragging my sleeping bag out and going to the living room and camping out on the floor, maneuvering around the still packed boxes. I went back to sleep but woke sometime later to what I could only assume was a very loud party that seemed to be happening right there in the entire house. I'm talking like people talking over people, laughing, and loud music. It's like a really bad trip. At first, I thought a TV was on somewhere in the house. As I got up to check, the entire house was silent, and I realized that everyone was still sleeping. Over the next 4 years, I would have more experiences like these. Another dream I had, I was standing in my room looking at myself sleeping. Astral projection. That's a fun one. At that time, how my bed was positioned, my head was down at the foot of the bed because I like to fall asleep watching the stars. This will also be significant later. At the foot of my bed, a man was kneeling down, hands folded in prayer. He looked transparent and black and white like an old movie. He didn't seem to notice me, either my sleeping form or the me that was watching him. This is very trippy. That was another night I went out into the living room to sleep. As I started to have more experiences like being home alone yet hearing doors open and close and footsteps in the house when I was by myself, I started to get more interest in the paranormal and with space. Another night I ended up on the couch, which just happened to be right outside of my bedroom door. I came half awake and a bright white figure stood in my doorway. It was in the shape of a person, but it was so bright that it blinded me. But that's all that I could remember. I don't remember going back to sleep or getting up until it was morning and I was back in my bed. Was like an alien thing? What? Having paranormal experiences did not stop when we moved from that house, and my interest only grew. A couple of years ago, my sister and I were talking with my dad, may he rest in peace, who was also into the paranormal, and one of his favorite shows was Ancient Aliens. I started watching that show a little while ago, and we were talking about our different experiences. I told him about my dreams when we had lived in the house by the cemetery. He went completely white. He then proceeded to tell me that prior to moving in, the landlord had to do some major renovations. The house was a drug-infested party house. He had to use 7 layers of paint on the bedroom walls because they had used animal blood to smear writings and symbols on the walls and remove animal carcasses from the room. What the fuck? Prior to that, a priest had lived in the house in the 70s and his shrine/temple/altar was in my room. My dad told me that he believed that I was a star child, that I might have come here from the stars based on my experiences and how sensitive I am and how fascinated I was with space as a child. I have other stories, even one about my experiences with the dreaded Ouija board, which I do not recommend to anyone. We don't either. We don't recommend them either, but for some reason, people just keep getting their grabby ass hands on them. And my run-ins with the Ouija board, demon. If viewers want to hear about it, I'd be happy to share sometime. You can tag me. My name is Missy, and I'm tilted.halo here on TikTok. I will be watching in the comments. Toodles. Well, that was a doozy. I want to know about the shiny, blindy person. I think that was an alien. That's crazy. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let her know what you think in the comments as well. She said she will be watching. If you have a story of your own that you want to submit, you can do so on the link tree in my profile. And also, if you add into your stories, or if you feel compelled to add in your stories, if you want more stories, don't put it there. Erase it and just submit more stories. Okay? We always want more stories. Anyways, if you have your own story that you want to submit, you can do so on the link tree in my profile. I will see y'all at the next episode. Stay spooky, friends.
Scary story time while I make Christmas theme slime. Get your money's worth. Get your money's worth and what? Let it drain. Y'all already know it's been too long. We're making snow slime, okay? Now, Kylie had an irrational fear of darkness, the woods, anything like that, right? But she would go hiking, she would go on trails, but she would never camp. Her sister August was the opposite of her. She loved camping, she loved darkness, she loved all of that. So one day, August is trying to convince Kylie to go camping, but Kylie not having it. She not rocking with that idea. Especially because August wants to go camping in the middle of freaking nowhere. No internet service, no nothing. She just wants to go remote camping. So both of their birthdays are coming up, but Kylie's birthday is coming up first. So August is like, girl, you need to get over this fear.
I got an email for tonight's true scary story about the Red Man. Now wait till you hear this freaking story. As always, you need to protect yourself before and after my videos. It's very important. Okay, let's get started. Tonight's submitter did not tell me whether I could use her real name or not, so we're gonna call her Jackie. Back in 2017, Jackie and her family moved into a house across from where they lived before. Her father had gone into remission by the time that they moved there. She was around 13 to 14 and her sister was around 11 to 12. They moved into a house across from 2 funeral homes, and her dad was then diagnosed again with, and they don't know if this house made it worse or not. So many things would happen in this house, like they would see random shadows and it would scare them and they would try to ignore it. And eventually Jackie saw this little boy, and this little boy would constantly be peering around corners. Jackie also saw her late grandmother, which she had never seen before, and when she told her mother what she saw and what her grandmother looked like, she never saw it again. It was almost like the grandmother just wanted them to know that she was still there. But then the scariest thing happened. The Red Man. So in 2019, her father was in remission again and he was doing amazing. They were so happy. Well, they wanted to clean out the attic. So they went up to the attic and they broke the hatch to the door to the attic. And when they were up there, they found a bunch of newspapers that were dated back to the 1900s. They also found handwritten letters, and they don't know who they belonged to. They never found out, but it was still weird. Now, after her father broke the hatch to the attic, this is when her sister started experiencing sleep paralysis. She started seeing this red and black man. Now, his skin was incredibly smooth. He was just about average height. He had no hair on him whatsoever, and his skin was black and red. And every time that this would happen, she she would see him trying to crawl on the walls out of the hatch. For some reason, his feet could not leave the hatch, but he would try to crawl out of the hatch and he would just stare down at her. Now, during this time, Jackie also started seeing something. She would be asleep in bed, she would wake up, and she would see this tall, skinny shadow figure in her doorway. Could only see it as a shadow, but it had reddish orange eyes. One night, Jackie is sleeping, and something starts happening to her. She starts kicking the bed. She's on the top bunk. They have bunk beds, so her sister's on the bottom bunk. She's kicking the bed as hard as she can, and her little sister wakes up. As soon as her little sister wakes up, her little sister sees this tall shadow figure man leaning over Jackie on top of the bunk bed. This thing was so tall, it couldn't even fit the door frame. So when it bent over to lean over her sister, the way that it looked was so terrifying. It was just skinny, lanky, tall. So half of its body looked super tall and the other half looked super tall, just leaning over like this. Unfortunately, at the end of 2019, her father passed away, and this is when things got truly terrifying. They would come home from school and the TV would be on. When they know that they left the TV off, they would be watching TV sometimes, and then all of a sudden music would turn on out of nowhere. Her father used to be downstairs watching TV, and then after he passed away, every single time they would walk to the bathroom, they would hear him coughing downstairs like he was still alive and sick. One night, Jackie's walking to her mother's room to ask her something, and she goes to open the door, and the doorknob twists and opens right in front of her. She did not touch it. Her washer and dryer was in the basement, and her sister said that one time she was down in the basement and she turns around and she sees her father walking up the stairs of the basement. When he got to the top of the stairs, all of a sudden he turns into this woman with long, dark black hair, a white nightgown on, and she's just floating on top of the steps. It went from their dad in a t-shirt and blue jeans to this woman in just a moment. They obviously didn't think this thing that was mimicking their father was actually their father at this point. So something was in their house mimicking the sickness of their father while he was alive. Now, a little bit after the incident where she saw her father turn into that woman, or her father turn into that woman, she was downstairs, she was doing the laundry, she grabbed the laundry basket, she brings it upstairs, she's walking upstairs, and she hears do 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 do, and something is running after her. She immediately drops the basket, turns around, there's nothing there. Their questions are, why do you guys think that this happened? What do you think that this was? Do you think it was because they lived between two funeral homes? Or do you think it was just because of the sickness of their father maybe lingering like a residual energy in their home? Or do you think it was something darker, like demonic or evil, something mimicking, like maybe a mimic, mimicking their father to bring them back into the pain that they were in when he was alive or when he had passed? They would love to know your thoughts, so if you could drop them in the comments, that would be amazing. And now on to my favorite part, the shout outs. My first shout out is going to Kobe. Kobe, you are great. You are always commenting, always supporting me, and you have no idea how much I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your support and your love. I love you for that. Just thank you. My second shout out is going to Spider, and you have a spider next to your name. You said that you love my videos, you watch them every single day, you've seen every single one, and now you wait for them every single day. Girl, that means so much to me. I truly, truly appreciate that more than you know. Thank you for supporting me. I love you for that, girl. Guys, I have been on the hunt for good dry shampoos, and I've now found two that are so good. You guys, look. Do you see my hair right now? It's so greasy, it's literally sticking in place right here, okay? By the way, this is Spress Care. We're gonna do this side first. Look at how freaking soft. I take a hot tool to it after I use it. Look. Just like so freaking fluffy. Brush it out. Now watch. Look at that. That's so good. Ah, now I found two. I'm so happy. I'm gonna drop the link for you guys below. It even looks so much better up in a ponytail now. Like, I'm obsessed. Okay, you guys, so my name is Kaisa. I tell true scary stories on here every single night, so if you like that, hit that follow button. And other than that, I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Keep sending me your scary stories. Have a safe night. And what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen. Did the window break?
Spooky story time. A follower named Rudy sent me the story, and he says that in 2013 his dad had passed away, and then a year after that in 2014 one of his best friends was unfortunately unalived. Obviously, a lot of stuff was going on all at once. He was not taking it well. So one day he was in his room having a few drinks, and there had been a pile of clothes sitting on his computer chair for weeks, like weeks. No one had touched anything. He hadn't messed with anything in that area. So he's there. Obviously, he's sad. He is feeling all the emotions, and out of nowhere, all of the clothes that was sitting on that computer chair literally just gets like thrown off. He says that immediately he didn't feel anything. He didn't want to think negative because it could have been anything. Maybe he just happened to walk by that area without him noticing. Maybe he brushed like that chair. He didn't notice it, and that's what happened. He said that that is what was weird though, because soon after that, things started to kind of amp up. He says that he had a bedside table right by his bed, and again he was feeling all the emotions. So he had a few cans of drink and a few Gatorade bottles. He hadn't messed with that stuff again in a few days, and he is laying down just thinking. He had the TV on, and out of nowhere, the Gatorade bottle that was sitting on that bedside table just flies off that table. He sits up. The table was a little bit away from the bed, so he couldn't have kicked the table or anything like that. And he's just looking at the table like what happened? He did say that there was one specific incident that really made him stop in his tracks. He says that him and his now wife were having a little heated discussion, a little argument. They were not agreeing on whatever the topic was. They were shouting. They were just not happy. And he said that there was a stack of papers on his desk, and in the middle of their argument, the stack of papers is literally like thrown into the air. The papers are in the air and they're like, you know what I mean? All the way down to the floor. And him and his wife are looking at this, all of these papers, like, he always tried to make an excuse for everything, but there was kind of no way to excuse this. They ended up selling the house. He now lives in a new house, and he doesn't feel any type of anything, no energy, no nothing, but he doesn't know what any of this could have been in his previous house. His dad did pass away in that house, so he doesn't know, like, is he imagining things? Could this have been his friend that had passed away as well? Could it have been his dad that had passed away in the house? He doesn't know, but he says that he's always been a believer in the supernatural, in spirits and everything. But because of these incidents that happened at his previous home, he definitely doesn't doubt that there is something else in this world. Thank you so much to Rudy for sharing this story. As always, if you guys have a story that you'd like to share, please send it via DM or email because I'd love to read it. And I will see you guys in the next spooky story. Bye.